Yes.
So we got to the lake where we were supposed to camp, but unfortunately the engine on my boat started really acting up. It started off with a whole lot of smoke, and then it was sputtering and maybe going at a third of the speed that it was supposed to be going at. So I'm not sure what's going on. I sent my dad an email. He figures it's old fuel, bad spark, pinched line, a whole slew of different things. But when we got to the lake, it was pretty much about 7 or 8 o'clock, so we didn't have a lot of time to mess around. Luckily, there was a campsite very close to the launch. We're within paddling distance of the launch, maybe a half kilometer, something like that, less than that. But the engine will get us this far, but where we wanted to be is about 40 minutes up the lake, so let's just say that we haven't got there. So I don't know if we're going to get there. We might just end up camping in this spot. It's not so bad of a spot. It's just close to where a lot of boat traffic would be, which I guess is good if you're in an emergency situation. But we wanted to be in a completely peaceful area. However, this area does have a waterfall that you can hear in the background, and it also has a very nice campsite that we've been enjoying for the night. Hopefully we can figure out something with this engine, or failing that, we might be spending the week here. Problems happen. What are you gonna do? Coke machine for real fishing. It's 5:40 in the morning. The sun just came up. I'm about to head out. As you well know, my motor is dead. It went from sputtering and going up and down, losing power, whatnot, all the way to not turning on at all. I was going to make a trip to Temagami Marine, but unfortunately we decided not to paddle all the way back to the launch to do that. The idea was that we were going to putter to the launch with the motor, get it on the trailer, take it to Temagami Marine. But since the engine wouldn't even start, what we did was we ended up looking at this waterfall that's right over here that you can barely see from the lake, but if you just go past a set of bushes, you see this amazing little waterfall that's cut out of the rock. It's pretty fantastic. Anyway, we decided to not paddle all the way to the launch today. We're going to do that on our way out. But the idea is that we're just going to load this thing up on tomorrow or Friday, whatever we decide, and then paddle out of here. Like I said, it's only about a half K. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be impossible. This is why they make sure that you have oars in your boat, or paddles, whatever, for safety, for situations like this. My dad's given me a whole list of things that might be wrong with my engine. My brother's like, it's old gas. I'm like, again, fresh gas. So from looking online and from talking to my dad, I think that the fuel filter might be jammed. It's funny because I see all these people zipping past here with these motors that are 20 years older, 30 years older than the motor I got on this thing, and they're having no problems whatsoever. And I'm just like, wow, you guys are really ripping on that 1970s Evinrude, Yet my Mercury here is DOA. So yeah, I think the fuel filter is jammed or something like that. That seems to be what fits the symptoms. Here's the thing. I gotta keep fishing. Can't stop fishing. So I'm rowing around. That's the way Grandpa probably did it. I usually fish for my canoe anyway, except on these extended camping trips. So the idea of using physical power is not so strange to me. So that's what we're going to be doing this morning. Here we are at the crack of dawn. Sun just came up, and I'm going to start rowing us around. I got my flicker shot out. It's the sideways sun, so I'm going to get the sunglasses on here. The mosquitoes have found where I am now, so we get moving. Let us row. So after unsuccessfully trying my usual walleye techniques in this unfamiliar section of the lake, I decided, on a whim,
to get out my old fly rod and give it a shot, and it was a great decision.
Beauty little bass on the fly.
Got ya. Nice. Ooh. It's going on a blistering run. Get out of here. Do fly. He's towing the boat. Wow. Gotcha. Sweet part about flies is they're easy to get out. Beautiful bass. Touch of the black spot. Good fighter. And away he goes. This guy's like, I'm not buying it. I'm wise. Gotcha. SMBs. Gotta love them. SMBs always have lots of juice. They all seem to be the same size around here. Pound and a half maybe. Wet my hand with the net. Beauty. Bad black spot though. Just using a little sinking nymph. I had sort of a crayfish looking one on before, but I've got a bunch of them, so I decided, hey, let's try out a different one. I bet you the crayfish one would work just as good. See, I'm sort of sight fishing here is what's going on. I'm having success doing it, so nothing wrong with that. I'm just gonna go down this little shoreline here a little bit. See these logs. A few casts on these logs here. That fish, I didn't think he was gonna go for it. He was, that guy casted one near him and he's just like, yeah. He was just like, yep, no thanks. And all of a sudden he was just like, cast in front of him, wham. They're not very boat shy around here. They're almost more curious. I'm not a pro fly fisherman, and it's been a long time, so a little rough. It's okay though. It's fun. You pick it up again. I've had lots of fun with this rod and smallmouth bass. There we go. Got ya. Got shot up. Grabbed hold, and now it's explosion time. I didn't see that guy. He came out of nowhere. Here it comes for the jump. One thing I find, this rod's a little hard on the wrist, or maybe it's just these smallies are too awesome. They're just such a great fish to catch. Like I said, they're all the same size. I haven't caught any big ones. I haven't caught any small ones. Put my hand at the net. There's another guy. Black spot again, eh? You can see it in the fins. Beauty smallie. You also see it in the lips and gills. I mean, it's just a parasite that's not too serious, but I like to eat them when they don't have those. Gotcha. Just a little bass. There you go. Gotcha. Hammer handle. Oh, he's decided he's alive now. Gotta make sure he doesn't cut my line on his teeth. She might. It does look like he's on there. Not great. Okay, little guy, let's just get you right in the net. Oh. He's gonna steal my popper if I don't get him in quick. There we go, Mr. Pike. Got a little hammer handle, goes for the flies. See ya, buddy. Gotcha. Bass on. Just a little nymph, black nymph with a flashy. It's funny because some bass just like go crazy. This guy's just like, yeah, I got something in my mouth. Unless you let it reel down to the reel, your fingers are the drag on this. Yeah, I forget when it happened, but I got a hole in my net. Might not be big enough for a bass to fit through, but that pike went right through it. I had repaired it, but it looks like new repairs in the works. Wonder if I can just buy the mesh. It's a nice net. Landed many a carp on that net. Gotcha. That guy might be one of the bigger ones I caught. Yeah, nice 2 pound, maybe. Try to keep myself on this. So I just have some Christmas tinsel on this one. There's a couple of bass in here and they're all checking everything out. Might be the same guy I just had on the hook. Another nice bass. Little guy. So hungry this morning. It's got to be his brother. Nice. They're on the bite today. Yesterday I couldn't catch one for the life of me. Very similar size. Here we go. Gotcha. Maybe that popper just wasn't the thing. Just needed another nymph on. Golden-headed black nymph. I'm sure there's a name for it. I mean, again, I just make them up as I go when I'm time flies. Yeah, put a piece of Christmas tinsel on this one. Maybe a bit of marabou, golden head. They like it. Not sure what they think it is, but they like it. Yesterday I heard a tree fall. Somewhere it's on tape. I didn't see the tree fall, just heard it. Wetting my hand with the net. Another beauty. Okay. Beauty. Another beauty. Gotcha. Man, it's been a good morning. Ooh, this guy's pulling the juice. Oh, these bushes. Come on. Here he comes. Okay. Yeah. Nice bass. Black spot again. And there's another bass right there. Oops. Gotcha. Wow, double bounce. I need a polarized lens on my camera so you can see these fish. It's like I could see a bunch of them. Probably last bass of the trip. Wet my hand with the net. Beauty little guy. Because that's what happens. Luckily my rod didn't get pulled in the water. I just had the nymph just barely in there, just because my tippet's so long. And the bass came and grabbed it. All I heard was a big splash. That's funny. I don't know if I have enough batteries to record this one, but let's see. He looks like the same size as the last guy I got. I'm gonna try to get him in fast because he's the battery's gonna die. Let's see if I can do it. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get in here. Reel in your line, man. Unless you like surprises. I do. There you go, guy. I'm sure you guys are a little bit curious about what flies I was throwing out there. So this one was doing great. Little gold head and marabou on the back. I was calling them nymphs in the video, but they might be called streamers as well. These ones are really small, as you can see by comparison to my fingernail. They're not particularly long or anything, and I understand that streamers are sort of a longer kind of fly. This one here most definitely probably would fall into the nymph category because it's supposed to be like a bug. And definitely this one. These flies are ones that I tied myself, and a lot of times I was just coming up with patterns and putting them together. So, you know, it might look a little crude, but those little legs on there definitely give the impression of a bug. And of course, this one was doing very well as well. And I've got little Christmas tinsel in the back there. Gold head, marabou, and then it's a pink tinsel. They seem to really like that. It looks crude, but a lot of times I was just making these with, you know, actual fly tying supplies and then maybe throwing in rubber pieces or tinsel or whatnot, or just a straight marabou. Like I said, I was referring to these as nymphs in the video, and some of these definitely are. I think those two definitely would fall into the nymph category. You know, these ones might fall into a streamer category, but maybe they're small enough to be considered a nymph. Like I said, I'm not like a master fly guy, so if you guys have any ideas or if I'm horribly wrong, correct away. Anyway, these are all hand tied by yours truly, and they worked great on the SMBs on this trip. So there you go. When we first got on the lake and my motor started acting up, I was pretty disappointed, not gonna lie. We were planning on going about 6 kilometers up the lake to the campgrounds we usually hang out at, but we knew this end of the lake fairly well, or well enough, that we knew there was a campsite within 500 meters of the launch. And overall, I'd say this area is pretty cool. It has all the sweet vibes of this particular Temagami area lake, with maybe a touch more boat traffic because the launch is right over here. But overall, it's been a pretty good spot. Across the way, you can hear a waterfall, and it's a hidden waterfall. It's hidden behind a bunch of cedar trees, and all you can see is this little trickle. But we parked the boat, walked up underneath it there, and there's just this waterfall coming through the gap in the cliff. down into the lake here, and it's completely out of view from the lake. But we walked all up it, saw all sorts of beautiful little splashes and splooshes and all that great stuff. I'll release a separate video of just that waterfall so you guys can see what it's all about. I'm just gonna call it the secret waterfall because it's hidden. We also found within oaring distance, there is a portage that goes up to another lake that's not so far away. I think it's about a 500-meter portage, so we just parked our boat there, walked up there and checked it out, and there's this other crystal clear lake. Both these things, I don't think we would have found or even known that much about had we not been forced to camp right here because of motor troubles. So sometimes things happen and then you end up doing the best you can with what you got, and then all of a sudden you discover all these new things that you wouldn't have even seen because you would have been ripping past it in your boat going, you know, full blast. I didn't find walleye in this area with the exception of I caught a 21-inch walleye right by the waterfall at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is awesome. And as well, I did start using my fly rod, and with the fly rod, I started catching all these smallies. And mind you, they're all about like 1-2 pound zone, nothing huge. But I had a banger morning where I was just catching smallie after smallie on my fly rod. Now, I'm not like a fly rod wizard. I do have a fly tying kit, and I definitely enjoy tying flies. I sort of fall in and out of it over the years, you know. I think I'm going to be back in it now because I was using some of the flies that I tied years ago, just these little nymphs and bugs and stuff like that. And the smallies were going for them hard, and it was great. And landing a fish on a fly rod is awesome. So I'm not any kind of a fly fishing expert. I think my rod's a 6 weight. I don't know that much about fly fishing aside from loosely about tying flies and, you know, all the different tippets and all that stuff. I wouldn't even know how to answer. That's why you got to ask AI those kinds of things if you're curious. But definitely fly fishing for smallies made up for all the other fishing plans I had. I got a little downrigger. I was going to go downrigging for lake trout. I've got all my favorite walleye spots up the lake. I didn't get to hit all those. However, I did have a blast fly fishing for smallies down here, and it's been great. We saw a turtle too. Turtles were around. We saw a mink. We had a blast. You know, we stayed the full time we intended to camp, and I'm glad we did. So sometimes things work out, and sometimes you just got to roll with it, and then things work out. Have a great time and enjoy camping as much as I do.